Yeah, that's me. So, who here remembers the pain of being like 11 and your shoulders are starting to hurt and your knees are getting a bit sore and you're going through growing pains and you're outgrowing your clothes, and I'm sure the growing pains your parents felt too because they were spending way too much money on new clothes like every other month for you. But that's actually not the kind of growing pain that I'm going to be talking about today. It's actually the pain that you feel after all of that growing stops physically, and the emotions feel too big to fit inside your head, and you're feeling overwhelmed with all the new experiences you're feeling and how you're going to compartmentalize all those feelings into who you are. That's the kind of pain that we're going to be talking about today. So, the context around this entire talk really is about my learnings and what you can take away from how integrity can make you feel whole in your life. The practice of implementing integrity, making you feel whole as a person in your life and in your experiences. So let's take a bit of a trip down memory lane for my experience of who I was. This is my very long CV that I was quite proud of when I was in grade 12, and I worked really hard to get there. Countless nights of staying up late, submitting assignments on time, making sure that I was schmoozing all my teachers to get the best grades and best recommendation letters and everything I could, because that was what was really important to me at the time. And every single thing on that list was something that I collected very deliberately because it added to how I felt whole at the time. Now, I found myself achieving all of those things sitting in my room during the pandemic. 2020 grad, did not have one. And I ended up spending my first year of university completely online. And so on my very first lecture, it was English. And I was so excited about it because I thought, I'm like totally the kind of person that would love university English class because I liked it in high school. So I thought, you know what, this is going to be great. And lecture ended, and I went, I don't feel any different. I had done all of these awesome things I thought were going to make me feel so successful when I finally got my end result, which ultimately at the time was being at my dream university and going on a full ride and being super excited about that. And I was finally in it, and I was like, this is like not that cool, and I'm not totally happy. I was dissatisfied with the learning and the class, and then that went on continuously on a cycle throughout my entire first year, and I continued to feel unsatisfied, which, funny with what the last talk was, right? I continued to feel unsatisfied. And there had to be a turning point. So we all have this moment in our life where we go, okay, well, things aren't going according to plan. And I thought I was going to feel a certain way where now I don't. Why is that? So I was sitting in a cottage in Montreal. There was a lake in front of me. It was beautiful. I never thought I'd ever experienced anything like that before. And it finally let me be alone with my thoughts. So I thought, okay, well, let's do a little bit of analyzing, as all high achievers do, right? We always analyze and overanalyze to see, what things go wrong sometimes. And so I started doing a deep dive into my external life. I thought, okay, well, what happened? What went wrong? And I implore you all to take a look at what your external lives look like right now. So your external life is where everyone else sets the expectations for you. So this could be, your job. This could be your school. This could be, your assignments, your extracurriculars, your sports, the way you perform, rising to the expectations of others. This happened to be the life that I prioritized throughout my entire high school career, where others set expectations for myself. And during that time, I always handed everything in on time. I was the best at my job. I was self-proclaimed class favorite in every class I went into, and that was something that made me really happy. And in that part of my life, I was thriving. And then I thought, okay, then I did everything right. There was nothing that went wrong there. Then I took a look at my internal life. Now, everyone also has an internal life as well, where you are spending time with your family, your friends, spending time with yourself, which I think is something that we always skim past, is your relationship with yourself, your hobbies, your hopes, your dreams, your goals, your values, which is really important. So when I did a deep dive into my internal life, you can ask my mom, she's sitting right there. I never came home on time when I said I was going to. I was always half an hour late, an hour late. Oh, Mom, I'll be home at 11. Walks through the door at 2 a.m., right? Total disappointment. I was letting someone down in my life that I truly, really cared about, where I would have never done that in class. I would have never shown up in class without being in communication that I was not going to be there. So why did I do it in my internal life? How many times have you been late to a family dinner? How many times did you blow off your friends, right? In hopes to complete a particular assignment, to do better at work, to hit some sort of extracurricular target that you set for yourself. So I was totally out of the loop that I was letting the people in my life down, including myself. How many times have you picked up a hobby that you kind of left half-baked and then never got back to again? Because I went through customizing shoes, to learning how to play the guitar, to figuring out how to play the piano, and learning one song on each and doing like maybe some really bad art on someone's poor pair of shoes. So that was my internal life. And take a look at where these experiences maybe hit home for you, and then think about what's missing. So in this, symbiotic process of going through my internal and my external life, I realized that there had to be something missing. So I was doing something here, and I wasn't doing it there, and ultimately it led me to not feeling very whole in my present life, but I couldn't put a name on it. And then I did so much research, and I was thinking about it, and I thought it has to be something super complicated. And then it hit me. It was a value that I had that it wasn't upholding. It was integrity. Now, in this situation, integrity is doing what you say by when you say you're going to do it. And if you can't, being in communication with those who are relying on you. So I'll repeat this. Integrity is doing what you say by when you say you're going to do it. And if you can't, being in communication with those who are relying on you. So who was relying on me? There were people in my external life that were relying on me. I thought these were the most important people because they allowed for me to identify myself as successful. These are the people that saw me as successful, my teachers, my boss at work, right? The admissions office at the University of Big Cabinets, and everyone that I was putting as a reference on my CV, my resume, these are the people that were really important. And so I was being in integrity with all of them. However, I was not in integrity with myself. This was the biggest thing, is I was leaving my hobbies half-baked, like I said, right? I wasn't upholding my values, and integrity was one of them, and I didn't even realize that I wasn't doing it everywhere. So, if integrity is not being practiced in every aspect of your life, you must then question, are you truly practicing integrity? Are you being in integrity as a whole person if you're not doing it in both of your lives, both your internal and your external lives? So this led me to a stage in my life where I started blaming things. I went, you know what, my job was getting too hard and I really need to make money, and so it wouldn't have worked out anyways. I didn't allow for myself to discover who I was, and I was making excuses for it because my external life was deemed more important than my internal. But we all have a word in the matter. You're probably wondering, what the heck does that mean? You have a word in the matter of everything you say you're going to be in integrity with. So let's think about playing the guitar. So you have a word in the matter of playing the guitar, and for me, it's that, let's say I play 3 times a week. What is my current state? My guitar is collecting dust in the corner of my room currently. But that was my word in the matter at the time. What I identified was, I would say I would do things, but I never said what my word in the matter was. And we do this sometimes, right? We say, I'm going to go hang out with my girlfriend twice a week. That's my word in the matter. But that's not really what it is I'm going to hang out with my girlfriend twice a week, and we're going to do this, and I'm going to do it at this time, and if I can't, I'm going to be in communication about it. That's having a word in the matter. So if that's our current state of, me not playing my guitar 3 times a week, then there are 2 steps. So let's connect this back to, I know I'm skipping stories here, but it's going to be a lot more relevant. Let's bring this back to me sitting in that cottage in Montreal in front of the lake, very peaceful, and with my thoughts finally identifying that I wasn't feeling whole, and it was because I was lacking integrity. And I was lacking integrity around the fact that I didn't truly know what I was what I was happy with in my life, and what I wanted to do with my life, and where I wanted to go, and whether or not I was happy at the University of Big Cabinets, and if university was even for me. I had no idea. And that's a scary thought that we can almost come to, where we're starting to doubt, why we've done certain things. And for me, it was because of my lack of integrity that led me to that place, is I didn't allow for myself to learn about what I liked and what I didn't. So I addressed it. I was vulnerable. I forgave myself. And that's actually the first step, is forgiving yourself for being out of integrity with your word in the matter. Identifying that this is never going to go perfectly. So that's step 1. I addressed that it was okay that I was in this place that I worked so hard for, but I didn't realize that it wasn't what I really wanted to do. And then the next step is actually being accountable for my actions. Now, one of my values is happiness in all aspects of my life, but this was also a value I was not upholding. So what was the breakdown? The breakdown was that I was out of integrity with my hobbies, the things that I was truly passionate about, the love in my life, the happiness, the family. That's it. That's the breakdown. The impact of that meant that being in my first university class, I was unhappy because I didn't allow for myself to explore if it was what I truly wanted. The action. What was the action that I took after I found out that I wasn't upholding my word in the matter? I spoke to dozens of people about what their thoughts were on experiences coming out of high school, and I got, it's during the pandemic, and we're all kind of coming out of this now post-pandemic, right? Understanding what we really want and the freedom of the world that now exists to a certain degree. And that was the action I took, was I was going to go see what was next, what was out there for me, to be in integrity with allowing for myself to explore. And the structure that I put around it was that I would go through this exercise every single time I was out of integrity. Bias. I suggest that you think of a time right now where you feel out of integrity. Think about something that you said you were going to do by when, and you ended up not doing it, and you weren't in communication with anyone around you that you weren't going to do it. And go through bias. Break it down. Address the impact. Create an action, and put a structure around it to ensure that it doesn't happen again. And when you go through this process, if you're still unhappy, it's something that you truly don't want to do. So you discard it. Right? Now this, indeed, is a practice. It's not going to go perfectly. You're not perfect. Nobody's perfect, right? And it's okay to make mistakes along the way and be out of integrity. It allows for us to grow, to learn, to understand more about ourselves. But again, if you don't follow through the process of being your word, you'll never know if it's something that will truly be gratifying for you, right? I listened to Rob Dial, who's one of my favorite podcasters, his podcast Mindset Mentor, something I listen to on my drives to work every single morning. I listen to Rihanna coming back home, but Rob Dial in the morning. And he says, every action you take is a vote you cast for the person you want to become. And that was so powerful, and I'll repeat it. Every action you take is a vote you cast for the person you want to become. So every time I'm in integrity, I'm one step closer to the person that I want to be. And that is so gratifying. It feels so good to just feel whole as you close the loop, right? Now, this is interesting. About a week from now, 2 years ago, I planted a seed here. It was actually where I walked across the stage, and I stood here and I looked up at the camera and I heard someone reading out the graduation card that I had written, thanking my mom for everything she did for me as I walked across the stage graduating. And I haven't been back at this point since. And you all can plant a seed here and come back to it, maybe 2 years, 3 years later. Maybe it's been renovated, might be good, right? Who knows? But you get to reflect on every time you upheld integrity with yourself, the same way that I'm doing right now. There I am, doe-eyed. Little did I know the way that my life was going to toss and turn from that moment I took the photo, from the moment that you walk across the stage, this experience that is, fundamental to our education, to our growth, to our futures, turned into this person over here. Got better glasses, got some better hair. There's so much that I was able to become in integrity with that, if you can believe it, that very long CV in the beginning belongs to a university dropout. Life went on. I decided that that wasn't what was for me because I became in integrity with what I wanted. I went through self-exploration, and you'll do this when you're out of high school. It allows you, when you're out of high school, you finally have this privilege of choosing who you want around you, choosing what you do every single day and how you wish to spend your time and be in integrity with your word. And what it led to was being a professional mistake maker. I literally get paid to make mistakes every single day and solve problems and fail. And get to be a listener and a creator and a leader, a still figuring it outer. As everyone will understand that everyone is trying to still figure it out. I became a loving sibling, a loving partner, a loving child. Right, Mom? And that was because I'm still learning. Are you still learning? Are you still learning? Who's still learning? We're all learning, right? And that's the process of being in integrity, is you just keep learning, keep making mistakes, be your word, fight for your word, and you'll feel whole. And that's that.